Hello! Welcome to the capital city of Laos, Vientiane. This is the Victory Monument located in central Vientiane, Laos. This monument was constructed during the 60s, right after Laos got independence from France, which shortly after that, as you can see here, at the Prime Minister's office, had its own flag, and right next to it, the hammer and sickle of the flag of communism. Laos is one of the few countries in the world that openly embrace communism. And today, I'll be walking around and showing you what life is like in one of the poorest communist countries in the world. I'm in an upscale market in Vientiane here, where the majority of things sold is gold. Most folks buy gold to pretty much hedge their bets whenever the Laotian kip fails or fluctuates up and down. This store alone has, I would guess, about 75 jewelry stores that only sell gold jewelry. You've probably seen, well, maybe have seen in my last video, people were panning for gold in Mekong. I currently have about 1 million Laotian kip in my wallet right now, which seems like a lot, but it's actually only about $50 US, which is more than enough to survive in Laos for several days. The median income for a person in Laos is right around $10 a day. So 50, more than enough. Some more things in the market here. Upscale clothing, silk scarves, or silk and linen scarves are also made widely throughout Laos. Like I said, a lot of people that come to this specific market have the money to pay for gold, get upscale dresses and that sort of thing. And they'll hold on to the gold until the Laotian kip drops significantly. That way gold always preserves at least a much more steadier income and reliable amount of money than the kip does. One thing you certainly notice here in Laos, in the markets and malls, is a lot of storefronts are also closed. And a lot of what's being sold is very repetitive. I believe that's mostly due to the fact, obviously, communism. But majority of Laos people and workers are unskilled. They're able to do several things very well, and that's what they're good at. Like making blankets, bags, that sort of thing. Panning for gold. But with an overabundance of these same exact things being sold everywhere, that lacks the amount of stores being able to be opened. That's another thing you'll see a lot of in Laos is fake knockoff designer brands. No, I'm okay. You get a lot of people asking you on a tuk-tuk ride, especially when you're a foreigner. They know they can upcharge you and you have no idea what it would actually cost. Especially in Laos, where Grab, essentially it's Southeast Asia's version of Uber, isn't available here. Which makes it very difficult to get around. All the local companies that are similar to Uber all require a Laos phone number. And I personally don't have a Laos SIM card. I have an eSIM that doesn't have a phone number that comes with it. So it's difficult to get around this country. Obviously, through this market here, you can see that there's obviously private individuals who are selling stuff, which doesn't make Laos fully communist, which there truly isn't a fully communist country in the world. There is always some sort of private companies or outside investment. And speaking of outside investment, China has invested a lot into Laos. They recently built, I think it's a $6+ billion train, high-speed rail train that comes from China down to Vientiane, the capital, which I took actually on the way south here from northern Laos to the capital city. And I'll put a little clip in here showing what the scenery looks like that they put this train through. That being said, with so much investment that China's put into Laos, especially with the high-speed rail that only connects Laos and China, it allows for Chinese nationals to come into Laos and bring their own businesses and create wealth for themselves. And on top of that, Laos has to pay back the amount that is due to China for building that high-speed rail. So that $6 billion that China used to build that high-speed rail train station will have to be paid back by the Laotian government. And in a country where the GDP is like maybe $10 to $15 billion a year, the more and more Chinese investment that comes into this country will make it more and more difficult for them to get out of the hole with China and become dependent on them. Walking around Vientiane, you'll notice a lot of Chinese Chinese words, symbols is what it looks like to me. And I'll show you a little bit of that later. I can just see some down the street, but I don't be able to show on the camera. A lot of Chinese investment, a lot of Chinese tourists. You'll see a lot more Chinese people here than white people, for sure. You don't see an overabundance of communist propaganda in this country. Every once in a while you'll see the communist flag, but mostly on military buildings. If you're wondering, how is Laos communist? They do have some private companies that come in and sell things, but mostly it's because our government only has one party. The people don't get to elect their leaders. They're essentially just given it, and that's what you have to deal with. On top of that, the government also controls all the state media. So any TV, anything sort of like that, it's all controlled by the media here. This is what a typical food market looks like in Laos. They do have supermarkets and other markets that are more similar to the US. But obviously the prices there are much more inflated than here in the local markets where the majority of people buy their daily food. This is near one of the local bus stations that goes from one small city to the next. For people that aren't able to get around by, vehicles. And especially in Laos, where there's a limited amount of paved roads. Majority are dirt roads that connect most small villages to small villages. Only the larger cities are connected by paved roads. You see a lot of trash on the side of the roads here. There really isn't. There obviously isn't a private company to pick up the garbage. So they just have the government do it, which is the government. So they only have specific areas where they drop off trash, and there isn't trash cans either. You just throw it in bags. Which leads to a lot of trash just on the side of every single road. Because people can't be asked to go walk, quarter mile to drop off some trash. The symbolism is there. But the actual outcome remains the same. Just trash, unfortunately, everywhere here. That being said, since you're not able to drink any tap water here at all, you're forced to buy bottles, unless you have like one of those fancy water bottles that filters out everything. That being said, there's really nowhere to fill up a water bottle in this country at all. So you'll end up having to buy water bottles anyways. You'll see here it's all disgusting runoff. So as soon as you go into some businesses, and especially hotels or hostels, they make you take your shoes off here. Mostly because you're walking outside all day in disgusting circumstances with a bunch of junk on the ground that they don't want tracked into the building, which I completely understand. Not a bad lunch. You'll notice a lot of the locals wear long sleeves throughout the day. Not because it's cold out, it's because of how hot it is. And that comes with the sun. The sun here during the middle of the day is up to 10 UV throughout most of the day. So the only way really to protect yourself is to really wear layers. Even putting sunscreen on is difficult. Mostly because of how expensive it is here. And by expensive, I mean like normal US prices. But to here, literally anything that you want is about, I would say about 5 times cheaper. than what you can get for in the US. So even though during the middle of the day it gets upwards of 90 plus degrees, people wear long sleeves just to get away from the sun. And finally I'm able to walk around because the sun's starting to go down. It's probably about 85 degrees, but no sun. It makes it kind of bearable. It really truly is surprising how much Chinese language is on things here in Laos. You have all the Chinese lanterns. The entire monument here is Chinese lettering on it. And now I have to attempt to cross this road. It's a little closer look. This is a large night market here in Vientiane. I have not seen one in Southeast Asia quite like this, where the vast majority of it is just knockoff designer brands, with, of course, smoothie spots. But you need Dior, Gucci, Louis Vuitton knockoffs, and for some reason they love the New York Yankees logo and assume apparently it's a fashion thing, because it is on everything. Like here, they just love that logo here. I highly doubt they have any idea what it actually means, but it is on every single thing around here. It's not all doom and gloom. They got a bunch of different light up things for kids, little amusement park rides, which I wouldn't trust anyone on them, but they look fun for 5-year-olds, which that's a dedicated age range for them. But they do have this nice walkway alongside the Mekong River here. That's just on over some agricultural land. There is the Mekong. And they have this nice paved area here just on the side. Laos has continued to try to increase tourism to generate some outside revenue. I think it's only been maybe a couple decades that Laos has truly been open to tourists, so they really started to push up their economy and have people come over from Thailand and Vietnam, which those are the two countries that are by far the most visited by tourists throughout the world. So Laos is attempting to get more into that, and it is difficult since they are a landlocked country and the only landlocked country in Southeast Asia. So they don't have the beaches that Vietnam and Thailand have that draw people in. Nighttime is truly when the city comes alive in this area. If you walk in this area in the middle of the day, it would be a desert. Now everyone's out of their homes, enjoying the cooler weather, and getting dinner Basically, they're at one of these roadside stops. A lot of the markets in this area have food that are widely available. This is what a hospital, at least, yeah, it looks like a hospital. It says hospital on it. Looks like in Laos. Right next to the gold market and all the ATM machines. And you know inflation's bad when you can take out 2 million KEP plus at once. You take a look at all the construction there. And on this side, I'll zoom out a bit. You'll see this gigantic white wall. The ambassador of France lives here in this giant compound while France did occupy and colonize over Laos in the 1900s. They now still have a good relationship with them. You'll see signs around town advertising for students to come and study in France. So here in this spot, you'll see the gate here. Shows the resident, well, whoever is the ambassador of France to Laos has this gigantic compound all to them. Well, felt today here made a full loop. Well, pretty close to one at least. Of the capital city of Vientiane, Laos. We'll be moving on tomorrow to the next location where it'll be a little more action packed in here. But hopefully I got quite a bit of what the city looks like. Bye-bye.